Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And look who's in Japan. It is Emi Yoshikawa. She, of course, is one of the older, not older in terms of she's old, but she's been around in the Ripple camp now for quite some years. And she is in Kyoto in this picture. Looks like she's having a very nice lunch. It was taken a little over an hour ago. This is the University of Blockchain Research Initiative, and Ripple, are they have chosen two schools, two universities here in Japan for this. The one in Kyoto, which is the best school in Kansai on the east side of the country, and then also the University of Tokyo here in Japan is also going to be a recipient. And if you are available, Emmy, give me a DM on the backside of Twitter. I'd love to have coffee with you. Anyway, I'm sure you are feeling like you want to get back to the Bay Area because it is so hot. And yeah, there's even a typhoon down in the south part of the country in Kyushu. So I'm sure she's glad to be able to go back to the Bay Area soon. It's like 90 some degrees with 90% humidity. It's tough. This month of August is really tough. All right, this video is going to be rather fast and short and sweet, and I'm going to give you a lot of information and links so that you can do your own research to be an expert in this particular breaking news, and it's breaking everywhere. This is CNBC with a news alert that the Federal Reserve will launch a real-time payment system called FedNow, and it's expected to go live in 2023 or 2024. And I think a lot of people like myself, when they first heard this, were quite surprised that it's such a long time out. But as I was reading a lot of comments on Twitter, I think it probably is, if Ripple is truly the chosen company to do the technology for them, which I personally think it sounds very likely by the verbiage and narrative that was given in the speech today. Um, I I think that they're going to wait until Ripple has ramped up to maybe 3,000 to 5,000 banks to test the resiliency and the sureness, the safety, the ability before they just flip the switch and go live. I think that is, now I don't have any more than just my opinion based on some of the tweets that are on Twitter and people talking about it. I think they're taking a careful approach and obviously they should. This is a big change. So what is happening? Well, even the New York Times has recently, in the last couple of hours, written an article, and they talk about the feds want workers to get paid faster. I don't know if this is really the driving force behind why they are doing it. In fact, I don't think it is, but it makes for a good headlines for the New York Times. The best article I have been able to find is by the American Banker, and you can read this in the link that I'll provide down in the description. But, you know, it's the smaller banks that are very happy about this, and it's antagonizing the nation's biggest banks. The feds really promise that they're going to have a higher service quality and lower prices, which will account for wider adoption in the long run. So the clearinghouse, which went live in 2017 and more than $1 billion has been invested, this is a big bank-owned system, and the smaller banks and credit unions have not signed up. They're wary that their interests are not going to be heard. So I think there is room for a competing second service for them to choose from. And also, too, when you have a two-tier system, it actually is strategically more safe, because if there is a case of point of failure with just one service, that is, I think, putting your eggs in one basket, which in regards to money is not a good idea. So this article is very good. And what I found, this is kind of like, wow, what I really found is a podcast in here. And it is so interesting. It is from the editor of the American Banker. And she says this whole thing has been quite a saga. So if you want to read this, and it's more than, this is a good podcast. It addresses why the U.S. payment system is still so slow. Anyway, there is a lot of contributors to this podcast. And yeah, I think it's worth a listen to. So the name of this faster payment is called FedNow. I think everybody knows that. The key feature is it'll process payments 24 hours a day, transaction size up to 25,000. So that's interesting, huh, that it's got that cap. Its eligible institutions are all of those with Fed accounts, and of course the launch date 2023 to 2024. Now, this is something that's interesting. So I was just, really trying to bring all of the information to one location for everybody who wants to know more about all of this. And I found that more than 56 real-time payment rails are expected to be live by 2020. Can you believe that? 56 different ones. And the U.S. hopes, of course, it will have a solution among them. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen by 2020. But the demand for these faster payments is very strong in the U.S., and not all the financial players agree how to achieve it. So that's why it's been a little bit of a saga. This is a faster payments tracker that is put out there by the payments.com company. It's really good too. And if we go back to this document here, it's a PDF, and it is the U.S. path to faster payments. This is the final report of part 2, which was the call to action. And you'll learn that in the proposals that came, there are actually 16 proposals. The original amount was 25, but 2 missed the deadline that was required. 6 basically opted out after some time, and 1 was an incomplete proposal. So this is at the time that they were creating, back in July 2017, that implementing a task force. The work group was to help, do the framework. And yes, Ripple was on this task force. So they were, I'm sure, able to really promote their technology and provide great insight and depth and knowledge to the solution that they finally decided on. And here we have a letter that is actually by the order of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. It is dated September 28, 2018 by Ann Misbach, the Secretary of the Board. And you can see this is when they called out for comments. And one of the best comments, they are all public. So you can search on that doc number. The doc number here is OP-1625. And here again, the American Bankers Association, they really are behind choosing a private sector to do this. And they talk at great length of how a private sector will provide that interoperability. And when you put the word private here, you can see that the word private sector actually comes up 23 times in this document, which is just only 11 pages long. So if I go to, I should have just stopped up there on the 7th. Let me go up a little bit. I'll just read you this interoperability. So if the board decides to create a new and upgraded payments capabilities, interoperability with private sector solutions now in the marketplace is critical. So they really chime in with this mantra throughout the whole comments letter. I'll put a link to this one too. And if you want to look at the original proposal made by Ripple, that also is here. This is a submission that took place on the 13th of December 2018. It's 9 pages long. And if you go to the bottom to see who is actually behind this, you can see Dilip Rao who is head of infrastructure innovation at Ripple, along with Ryan Zagone and Pat Thalen. This tells you who's driving this project, and it was very interesting because Dilip Rao today had a very congratulatory tweet out for the steps that have been taken thus far by the Fed. Very, very interesting. It just gets, this space is so suspenseful. It's just, yeah, it's too much sometimes. And then here, you can also take a look through the May 2019 report to Congress that came from the Federal Reserve, and it is the use of the ACH system and other payment mechanisms for remittance transfers to foreign countries. This is what they prepared when they went before Congress, and I think that it is also required reading if you want to know everything about this subject. So this link will be there. And finally, just a couple of hours ago, I think I was the first person who found it on Twitter, and I sent it out there, an FAQ that was put out just a few hours ago from the Federal Reserve, and they give how many pages? 8 pages here of kind of a recap, and it is a summary in the form of an frequently asked question about the FedNow. And so, yeah, this will bring you really up to date to the most recent information coming out, in addition to what was said today in the speech. Okay, everybody. Yeah, I told you it was going to be fast today. And I am going to jump to the fluff, which is one of my favorites. These are manhole covers in Japan. They're the most beautiful you've ever seen. As you can see here, just Google manhole covers Japan, and up will come all the images with so many. And if you come to Japan and bring some, or you don't have to bring, buy some large Japanese paper called washi, and you can get it in so many stores, so it's not hard to find. And then get a box of oil crayons, and then lay the paper on top of the manhole cover and do a rubbing, and you'll get some of the most beautiful works of art you've ever seen, because they are textured such that they create a fantastic rubbing. Look at this. This would be a great one. This is obviously a castle. I'm not sure which one it is. Hard to say, but there are so many. Okay, so there is a second part of this manhole cover. Look at this one. Story. Oh, look at this one. This one would make a beautiful rubbing. It's fun. Yeah, people look at you like you're a little crazy in Japan when you do it. At least when I do it, yeah, I get the looks. And I've actually done some in the middle of Shibuya with Hachiko. They have one similar on the ground with the dog that was so loyal to its master. Yeah, I get lost in this. I just love it. And okay, so what is happening? Well, there are now some new ones that are going to be put all throughout the country that are Pokemon. And these designs, look at this. This is a website for the Pokemon manhole covers, and it's so fun to, this is Kanto. The Kanto region is where Tokyo is. So I think right now they're going to put them in 16. What is it? 16. I got 16 because 16 proposals. 6 regions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okinawa must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6. I guess they're putting Kyushu and Okinawa into one. Anyway, they have put them already in 2 of these regions, and then they are going to roll out 4 more. And so if I click on Kanto, which is where Tokyo is, you can see that there are many that are going to go into Kanagawa. Kanagawa is just a little south of here. It's where Yokohama is. And if I just click on there, you can see, okay, there. So here's Kanto, and here is the Kanto, I'm sorry, yeah, so this is the Kanto region, and this is Kanagawa. So you can see Kanagawa goes up to the water. They have, yeah, it's a great part of Japan. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. So you can click and, well, let's click on this one here. You can see this one is coming August 5th. So maybe they put it in yesterday and then it pops up a Google map so you can actually see exactly where it is. How cool is that? Let's just check Kyushu and Okinawa. So they're in Kagoshima. Kagoshima right now is getting a really bad typhoon. So hopefully, oh wow, I just love it. So these are all already installed. Let's look at this one here. Yeah, Ibusuki. Is this just too fun or what? I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to do rubbings of the Pokemon. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.